man. Thank goodness. uNrekt.
Welcome to the HEX Late Show. It's 43 OG. We've got a great show for you tonight. I've got the fellas in the back. I've got Bloobum. I've got T-Bird with us. Apologies from Jexxa, Sammy, Tangent. All can't be here. They're out partying, enjoying the new year. And we've got a special guest for you tonight. Probably the guy who, outside of Richard Hart, has put together, him and his partner, Firebun, have put together the most used software in the HEX ecosystem, which is the Staker app. So without further ado, we'll get all the guys on. How are we, fellas?
Hello.
Excellent.
All good.
Big welcome to Steph, and thanks so much for coming on. The reason I asked you on this week is because there's been a lot of talk about encapsulated stakes. There's other protocols that are going to be doing things, but the original protocol that does that or has been doing that for over a year now has been the Staker app, which uses the Gnosis safe, and your stakes are encapsulated in the Gnosis safe. So yeah, I thought we'll bring you on, and then people can find out a bit more about the technical details of that. And on top of that, we want to know about these contracts that Firebun Sam has written.
Mm-hmm.
There's 2 contracts, and we want to delve into that as well. But yeah, welcome to the show.
Yeah, we can do that. So thank you for having me.
No problem, man. No problem at all. So you've been busy. That's right. It's hard to get hold of Steph. He's always got his hands full, always doing things. But yeah, let's get into it. Tell me, what made you originally decide to use the Gnosis safe as the method of encapsulation?
So we are fairly plugged into the latest technologies and things that are happening in the Ethereum ecosystem. We are engaging with the consensus team in New York. We have a couple of teams working on different protocols in Europe. And so when we started the project, we got basically presented this idea of smart contract wallets, and we took our time. We took about 3 months to decide which kind of wallet solution. We tried different things we should be exposing users in the application, and we came to the conclusion very rapidly that we need something that would help our users increase their security level over time. So that's how we chose the Gnosis safe. The Gnosis safe is just a smart contract wallet, and basically you can have multiple owners. You can have 1 owner, or you can have 10 owners of the safe if you wanted to. And when you stake with your Staker app, basically what you're doing, you're staking via a smart contract wallet living on the blockchain, right? So you still have ownership over the smart contract wallet, right? You have kind of this proxy mechanism. But what happens if you feel that your security level has been compromised? You could decide to regenerate a new seed phrase and change the ownership of your smart wallet. So we put ourselves in the shoes of millions of users coming to the product, coming to the blockchain, and maybe mismanaging their seed phrases or having it exposed to someone coming to their house. You know, could be friends, they could be changing partners, and being a bit sloppy about the ways they've been managing things. And we felt like, you know, how many percentage of our users would have issues related to their seed phrase management, and how could we have a product when you have a stake store that gonna be lasting for 5, 10, 15 years, where you could have your security level evolving with your wealth over time. And for us,
Well,
that was,
that's
I
what.
think, the best solution on the market at the time. Yeah.
Well, that is what's unique about Hex, really, compared to a lot of other things out there, is that you are sort of
Mm-hmm.
married to, when you make that decision, you're married to it for a period of time, and that's why when those stakes are made, you sort of really, if you do it in the legacy way, you have to really look. You got no choice but to look after those keys. But what what the implementation of Gnosis Safe has done has allowed the user to be able to swap over. Now, I understand you can go into the Gnosis Safe interface and you can change over, the ownership address. But how would that work? I mean, and that's not something we suggest anyone goes and does. We don't want to create like unnecessary problems. But how does that even work for on your end on this? Like when you go back into the Staker app, is that going to pick it up automatically, or do they need to be in contact with their team over at Staker?
No, so I mean, you know, the safe belongs to you. You're the sole owner of the safe. The seed phrase, when you go through the product and the onboarding, gets generated on device, right? So it's an on device generated seed phrase, but that seed phrase derives a set of private key and public key, and that, I think, the first derivation, sorry for being technical, of basically your seed phrase as a public key is the owner of the safe, right? So
Mm.
for people that are a bit more technology savvy, they could go into the Gnosis Safe UI, which is outside of the Staker app, and try to manipulate the safe, adding new owner, or using other dApps that you can interact with via Wallet Connect over there. Uh,
Mm.
we don't encourage that for people to do that now if you're using Staker app, because the current version of the app is not supporting a multi-signature setup, right? Because if you have more owners with a wallet, you can define how many signatories you need to have to sign and confirm transactions, right? So you can imagine a setup where you have 3 or 5 owners, and you want for any transaction to be accepted by the blockchain to have 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 5 owners for any transaction to be signed up. And you can imagine right now the UI in the application doesn't ask you for different set of
Mm.
like owners to validate, you know, and sign. And that's what we will need to. That's what we're building with the V2. We will need to enable for users to do that. You can
So
still
at the
use
moment,
your go ahead.
also at the moment, you just have it as a default one of one.
Right now it's default one-on-one. So right now most users are not benefiting from the power of using multi-sig, but it's something that we're enabling, I think, in next few weeks. So yeah, users will be able to increase their security level if they desire to, right? So you could imagine typical setup would be maybe you have a two out of 2 or 2 out of 3, where you have, you know, a secondary hot wallet that is generating a seed phrase, and maybe you have a hardware wallet generating a third seed phrase, and these 3 seed phrases now are deriving addresses that are owner of the safe.
So
The
what's an
main thing.
example?
Go ahead.
I'm just curious. What's a real life example of, like, let's say I do a 2 of 3,
Mm-hmm.
and I lose my phone and I lose my seed phrase, but I've given those keys to 2 other people. Do I? Does that basically mean that they can get back into my wallet, or is that how it works?
Yeah, so two out of 3, I think it doesn't do anything to do with Staker or Gnosis F. It's just the general principle of multi-sig is you decide how many signatories do you need to have for people to execute a transaction, right? So it's up to you who are the different owner of these seed phrases. It could be yourself, right? You could have like 3 different seed phrases generating addresses there, and you have a redundancy basically, right? So yeah, it's really up to any individual setups. We're gonna be making some broad recommendation in the product or examples of what people tends to be doing, so people can choose what they want to do. Obviously, the more complex your setup becomes, the more chances you have just to fuck it up in a sense, right? If you have like a 10 out of you need to have a 10 out of 10 setup with 10 signatures for anything to go through, and you're missing one, right? Is as bad as just having a one-on-one and losing your seed phrase, right? So
yeah. So just with that, what that means is that if you want to interact with your stakes on the Staker app, and for whatever reason, let's say the infrastructure, and this has never happened, but let's say the infrastructure, worst case scenario, parade of imaginary horribles, infrastructure of Staker goes down completely, you can still actually access everything, right? Which is fantastic to know, because originally I remember there were people out there saying, well, this is potentially problematic that, we've got all our eggs in one basket, but that's not really the case. It's been created in a way, it's been designed in a way that you can still access things. You wouldn't, and I've done it that way. I've actually done a stake on that Wallet Connect. And funnily enough, I actually used Maddie Allen's, he has a website called tshare.app, which allows you connect up through the Wallet Connect. Yeah. And I used his website and connected up with the Gnosis Safe Wallet Connect.
Oh, nice.
And did it that way. Are there any other ways that you can do it? Because that was the path that I took, and it worked just fine. And I only did a stake for one day. It cost me more in gas and everything than it was worth, but I just wanted to try it. Are there any other ways that you can? Where that's
So I mentioned it obviously just before, just to move on. I mentioned obviously the security element of having Gnosis Safe, but there's a couple of other advantages to have that, right? We can use technology called meta transactions that are attached to the smart contract, and that let us basically abstract away some complexity for users. So users don't need to have some ether just to interact with the product. We can replay transaction automatically. It allows just for a lot of nice features that most wallets don't have on the market. And then your question about other front ends, right? So right now, Staker app is one front end to interact with your Gnosis Safe there, especially with to interact with the HEX contract. You have the Gnosis Safe UI that lets you interact with other products like 1inch, Uniswap. There's a bunch of what they call safe apps from the Gnosis Safe UI. One thing that should happen at some point is the go.hex.com itself should be supporting Wallet Connect. So for people just to use that, right? And we're going above and beyond duty by we forked the Gnosis Safe UI. We are creating a simpler version, a vanilla version of it. We're gonna open source it, and so for anyone, so basically we're gonna have a web front end. If Gnosis Safe, their team and their UI goes down, we have another front end that is out there, and it's gonna be open source for anyone to spin up if the need was there, right? So we're gonna have maximum redundancy with multiple front ends.
So do we need to start, all DMing Richard Hart and annoying him to tell him to create that put that Wallet Connect option on the go.hex.com?
It's a relatively low effort technically, but obviously he's busy with PulseChain right now. There's one person going through the process right now. It's the Alex at Hedron. He's putting, he has a smart contract and he's putting, I think, a front end together to interact with the smart contract. And because we have a set of users that have smart wallet and that want to interact with that want to mint their Hedron, we've been chatting last week to discuss what are the options for these users, and he said he would look into the Wallet Connect integration for his DApp.
Right.
Yeah, he's writing a tutorial at the moment as well.
Well, that's going to be interesting to see. I would like to, I'd definitely like to see Wallet Connect on go.hex.com. There's also another front end, apphex.win has a front end for Ledger, and you can also use Wallet Connect with that front end as well. So that's another option. Just goes to show you there are some options out there, but you know, you have to dig around and you have to sort of feel confident to be able to do that sort of stuff. You know, yeah. So, are there any
I'll openly admit that Staker app is my favorite front end and always has been. So I just want to put that out there.
You haven't seen the V2. You haven't seen the V2.
Can you give us any like tantalizing tidbits about it, or any,
hang on. Maybe there's something I can show. I don't know. We'll see.
Do you plan on launching it after PulseChain or before? Oh, he's going to bring it up.
I'm checking if it's okay not to dox myself.
Right.
Let's see. Do you see my screen? So just to leave you a little test of how the new app's gonna look like. We have finally the achievement and badges over there.
Very nice.
So yeah, so it's just a little teaser that things are coming alive very soon. You'll have the ability to see an aggregated view of your portfolio across 2 chains. So something that no other wallet is doing. Very few wallets are doing in the world as well. So yeah, a lot of nice features that if you use the app, you just have like everything you need there. Notification, how many interest or yield you're getting on daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis. A lot of stats that don't exist anywhere in the ecosystem as well.
Do you feel like you're just constantly having to react to what's going on out there? Like there are new things coming out, and you know, everyone's coming to Stake, or everyone's coming to Steph and saying, "Hey, are you guys supporting this? Are you going to let us do this? Are we going to be able to sacrifice through here? Or are we going to be able to see totals here?" Do you just like, have you got this just barrage of, you know, things, or like list of things that people want you to do? I mean, even last time we were on a stream together, I think Johnny Chaos was like saying what he wanted. Like he wants, like, you know, when you put in your address, you want to be able to like scan the QR code. Like everyone has what they want Steph to do. What's at the top of the list?
Yeah, I mean, that's part of, you know, creating value, right? You create something that people want even more, right? So if you have successful restaurants, you know, you can't please everybody. So you may have like 80% of people very happy with what you have, and you still have like some feedback about, you know, what could be improved, the service, the quality of the food, the diversity of the menu. That's, you know, it's part of making, you know, running a business. And if we were not creating value, nobody would care, nobody would ask for anything.
This is true. This is very true. Well, you guys are doing a fine job. I use Staker app every single day, and I think most people in HEX who have been around for a little while use it every day as well. It's just this. It's a must-have app, you know. And when you do version 2, you're upgrading to the. Are you also upgrading the version of Gnosis Safe? I think it's 1.0.1.3 or something like that. I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah. The very nice thing about Gnosis Safe is that you have this, obviously, the ability to make it evolve over time, adding new features. But we are very conservative. Obviously, smart contract, very conservative with it. And the Gnosis team is amazing. So every time they create new version of their contract, it goes through like 3, 4, 5 audits, right? So formal audits, multiple technical audits from different teams. I think there's a bit more than $100 billion of value currently stored on Gnosis Safes, right? Some of the largest Ethereum holders are using Gnosis Safe, Vitalik included, to tell you the
Yes.
level of confidence and the quality of the product.
I saw him on a stream. Sorry, Bluey, you go.
I was just thinking, like, I think early on, I think the idea, if I'm not wrong, was that you were going to have a paid version of the app, like with extra features. Is that still on the cards?
We don't know. We are debating internally. It's like we're not really doing it for the money, so to speak. Myself or Fireburn, we're doing okay. So it's more how do we create a sustainable business so that we don't have to just invest and invest our own money into the project, for the end of time, right? So we want to make it self-sustaining as a business, so we can grow the team, we can spend on marketing outside of our personal finance. So we bootstrap the business, and now the business is self-sustaining. We reduced 3 times the current fee level. We are likely just to reduce it even further down. So very very competitive. We're already like more competitive than swapping on what's the name, MetaMask, right? So they don't have any cap. They're taking I think 80 basis point on any of the swaps without any cap, right? So if you're trading millions of dollars on Uniswap, well, they're taking a lot, because 80 basis point of 1 million is $8,000. So there's people that don't realize, but then they use Uniswap and just the swap feature that they have embedded in the wallet, and that they're getting a lot while we're having a cap of $200. Your question, Bloobum, was around asking for money.
No, more. It was more. To be honest, it was more about, like, I wasn't actually so concerned about whether it would be paid or not. What I'm more kind of excited about is, like, what are the extra stats that you might be showing? Like,
Okay. Yeah. So in terms of stats, we'll have a couple of things that you can see right now on, for example, adoption. There's very few people that are displaying, apart from look into X, adoption of holders, adoption of stakers over time, right? So we have a lot of like over time statistics about the evolution of the APY. How many frontend right now show you over time a graph of the average API going up or down, right? 37%, 20%. Nobody does that. So same thing for the total amount of value stakes. All of the stats will have them, right? So I think we're gonna have a bit more than at launch, 12 different time series, and including a couple of them that don't exist right now in the market.
Oh, cool.
All right. Well, big things coming for Staker app in the next. So you're expecting in the not too distant future, maybe before or after the launch of well, we don't know when Pulse is launching, but
Pulse could be 3 months, could be 5 months. We don't know, but for us, I think we need to launch as soon as possible. So we even discuss with the team. We might just delay a couple of features. Say, hey, let's launch the V2 Lite, so to speak, where we have most of what we want. You can stake and send, swap on both environment, both chains, PulseChain and Ethereum. And then for all of the additional features that we were discussing in previous streams with regard to the meaning of investing, the dreams, the planning, and some of this additional stuff might come a bit later. But yeah, ideally we go to alpha beta testing early February, and then we can launch before the end of February. Right? That's the ideal scenario. We'll see. Right now we're just busy working our ass off. Like I haven't slept that much in the past 2 weeks.
So if you guys are watching and you don't know what we're talking about Staker app. That is, Steph is the founder, CEO of Staker. This is the best app to have if you've got HEX or you want to get HEX. So you can get the Staker app at the Google Play Store, and it's also in the Apple. What's the Apple Store called? Just the Apple Store, right?
App Store, yeah.
App Store, yeah. So you can grab it in there. Staker app, download it. You can use it. You can use it for free just to track your address. So you can just pop your address in there, and it will just read what stakes you have, or if you want to do your staking, you can buy HEX in the app. You can buy Ethereum in the app, right? That's correct, isn't it?
We have two partners where that have basically when you use them, it just pops you out of the app, and you need to go through KYC, and then you can buy some Ethereum, or USDC from them, and then send it automatically to your smart wallet. That's an option. If you already have an account with one of your local exchange, Coinbase, Gemini, Kraken, or your local exchange, you can use that as well to send some Ether USDC directly to your smart wallet address.
And then you can stake. You can do all your staking on the app, and all that staking on the app will be in your Gnosis safe. And then you have all those features and advantages of having those stakes encapsulated in the Gnosis safe. So
it's a good segue on the encapsulation, because a lot of people have been talking about encapsulated stake. It already exists with Gnosis Safe, right? So
that's it.
We don't have a market for it, but everybody does a staker, a staker smart wallet that has been staking as wrapped stake, really, that are just encapsulated by the safe. If you were to change the owner of the safe to a new one, well, you're just going to be porting your safe, right? So we don't have like a clear, right now, we don't have a clear market for it. There is no, it's already wrapped. Yeah.
Currently, as far as I understand it, there is no trustless way. Like if you were to agree with someone, I would like to sell you this in this. I would like to sell you this. This wallet. Currently, there's no trustless way to do that with Staker. However, that's potentially someone, if there's a dev out there who wants to write that, way of doing that, it would have to be some sort of escrow contract that allows both parties to, commit, and then once both sides have agreed and both have committed that whatever they have to commit, then it allows it to happen.
If we wanted to build in trustless manner such principle, you would have like an extra contract that is just co-owner of the safe, and then if some certain conditions are met, and until then, the ownership is changing to the new owner, something like that. So it's feasible. It's one of the ways just to do some sort of like trading of your safe.
Now the other thing I wanted to ask you about is these contracts that that Firebun has come up with. Now, these are, I guess, what they're allowing is that it's like almost like a redistribution of the yield that comes from a HEX stake. Can you maybe tell us a little bit about how that, what that is?
Yeah. So for the context is like it was roughly a year ago, around May 2021. There was like two fellows in the X community that was just talking about encapsulated stakes, and they said like they were just working on a contract. I forgot the name. There was a name around that, like there's two guys that's doing it. And I remember that at that time that there was a lot of people asking for. There were a lot of people asking for, hey, what are your thoughts about it? Does that make sense? Is that safe? Kyle pitched in as well. He did a video about.
I think it was called HEXBay. I think it was called HEXBay.
HEXBay. That's right. That's the team building the smart contract. And so we quickly look into it. I said we thought it was a great idea. We needed ourselves to do similar things for different purpose, because at the time, it was not clear to us that PulseChain would arrive. Right, it was something really new. We were discussing with Richard, and we said, well, we need a scalable solution, right? We can't wait for PulseChain. I knew already. I told Richard. He said like might be before the end of the year. I said like, Richard, it won't be before the end of the year. We're in January. PulseChain is still not there, so I was right. And that's the experience you have when you build like a lot of large scale system, for billions of people. You roughly know what it takes to do things. And we wanted to use for a scalable approach using layer 2s on Ethereum. And so what we need to do, because the HEX contract lives on layer 1, is having a way to project some of the shares onto new chains. So we said, okay, how do we lock some shares onto a bridge, and on the other side of the bridge, now these shares can be sold and bought by another set of folks. So that was kind of the idea behind it. First was a scalable solution for us to be able, for our users, to be able to engage with the HEX product on any layer 2s, really. So that was kind of the first motivation behind it. And there's a lot of like side effect that came with it. It's like even on these shares could be sold, and that has the advantages of sharing, basically, having just one large user paying or subsidizing the end stake fee, and all the other users, when they get paid with their proportion of the share that they've got, it would be as cheap as doing a cent for them, right? So we had a couple of benefits of using that methodology. So I think Fireburn did a great stuff. It was a lot of motivation for us, reducing finding a solution for reducing the cost of the end stake for the user on layer 1, the ability to project share and sell them on layer 2, and also internally the ability for us to develop more competencies and skills with regard to writing smart contract. So Fireburn is now kind of our expert smart contract writer, because he did it. He knows how to do it. He deployed it. We did internal testing. He did a great job of that. So that's the story and the story behind it. Yeah.
So as I understand it, someone makes a stake, and then in this contract, and it allows other people to come in and buy some T shares, or some shares, I should say, and then
there's a first contract called the share minter, and imagine it's a bit like a liquidity providing on Uniswap. I think that's a kind of best analogy. So imagine someone comes in, it has like 10 million or 50 million worth of HEX, and they say, well, I'm gonna looking some shares with that 50 million worth of HEX, or a lot of shares, a lot of T shares, and I'm gonna give the ability for anyone else to come in and buy some shares if they want to, right? So that's the way it works, really. And so the more the time passes, because you locked in the shares at the T share rate at the given point when you as a liquidity provider did it, it creates more incentive over time for people to say, well, I'm getting now share at discounted price, and so more and more people are incentivized just to get in, to get a better rate that they would get today on the market. And so what it does really is, like, you as kind of a share liquidity, basically you provide liquidity for the shares at the time you locked in.
And there's a benefit. Right? There's a benefit for the person doing that first stake as well. They can set, like, is it a percentage that they can set?
They can set a fee if they want to, right? I think it can be as low as 10 basis points, but they can set as low as they want, really. Or they just can. Us as a business, we are even deciding, it's like, maybe we would just put not any fees, and we'll just be fronting a lot of like shares to make them available on layer 2s or whatever layers for users, just not to pay the end stake fees. And the way it works, think about it this way. Let's say I have like 10 million HEX. Today, I'm using that share minters where I put in 10 million HEX, and I'm getting a lot of shares out of that, right? I own the share, right? And so they're also public on the market. We have a second price called like the market, the share market. So anyone, you can publish these shares to the share market, and anyone can buy them, right? At the price you set, with the fee you set. And then when people are buying the shares, they're giving you some HEX, right? And if everybody's roughly buying basically your shares, they're giving you some HEX in exchange. So now you have another set of liquid hex that you can and create a new, basically, a new stake with a lot of new shares to be to make them available on the market.
When is access to that hex that you like when you sell? Sorry, when you sell your shares, when do you get access to that hex? Is that something that's held until the end, or is that something that you have access to throughout?
No, that's the key. The key point there is that the way Sam Fireburn designed them, that you cannot. Yeah, you can buy the shares, but you cannot sell them ahead of the expiration of the stake, the overall stake, right? And so the way it would work is like that. Most generally, the incentives are set like that. The share liquidity provider will be the one calling the function to end the stake, so we'll be paying for the end stake gas price or gas fees, and then there's about a 10 period after that where everybody can collect
a 10-day period where anyone can call that because for example, let's see a situation where the staker dies and hasn't been careful with their seed phrases. There's still like all the other people can still call the end stake.
And that's why I think we have also this fee mechanism, incentive to say, hey, you get a little bit more because you're gonna be the one basically end staking the smart contract. So some of the bigger pays beta bonus and just overall fees that gets accrued by that stake, basically, you get depending on how you set the percentage, is an incentive for anyone calling that function. They will be able basically to get that fees, that reward, right? And I think the way it works is like if you were the one initiating the stake, you have a couple of days to do it, and if you don't do it, there's another like 10 days for anyone else to call the contract and collect the fees if the first one initiating dies or is no longer responsive. Yeah, for sure.
So sorry.
Go on, Bluey.
So is this all going to be on Staker app?
So we don't know yet. So we don't think, and something I discussed earlier. Most of the decision we make is either based on intuitions or data driven. I'd say about 60% is data driven. So like, what do we do for security? What do we do for next features? And yeah, we have about 100,000 users right now. About 25,000 deployed smart wallets, and very few. When I say very few, less than 1% of our users are coming to us and say, "Oh, I really want to sell my shares." No, that's not what's happening. Most people are coming to the Staker app and are staking the longest time you can see in the entire ecosystem. The average weighted duration for the smart wallet users, 11 years, right? So we are almost doubling the overall ecosystem
average
duration.
Stake length.
Yeah, average duration. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Do you think that's because it's mainly been Karim who's been onboarding, or what kind of?
No. Karim has been onboarding, doing quite well, but to be able just to distribute 20,000 smart wallet globally, it goes just beyond one person. So
So what do you hypothesize is the reason that Staker app has such a longer average stake time on it for?
Because this kind of audience that we're targeting, we're going for mainstream people. We make it easier for mainstream people to come in, and I think the pitch is simple. It's like it's a better saving account or retirement account. Most people that have been staking, through other means, let's say MetaMask, Trust wallets, that are like crypto native, so to speak. They're more short-term minded. They're gamblers. A lot of people in the communities are excited about new shiny objects and items that don't exist yet. I'm not like that, but that's what you see. So I think our users on average, I can give you a clear example. My parents use the app, and they're staked for a long time, right? They don't know anything about shares. They don't know anything about recharge. They don't know anything about the drama in the community. This is some of the users that we have. We have like a large portion of users that are in the community that are investors, but they're not active community members. So yeah, what you see, that was the comment I wanted to make earlier with, a bit of the drama you mentioned. I was like, yeah, there's just a few people talking and writing on the keyboard on the behind their screens, but they're not representative of the sheer volume of investors that we have in the ecosystem.
Sure. And so wow, that's so interesting. So when people are just given the information that longer pays better, they naturally just, okay, that's understandable, and to get the most out of
Yeah,
it,
we
I'll do
we have we have the gamification on a weekly basis. I've got dozens of people coming to me say, "Hell, I'm a crab. I want to go to the next league." Every month I'm saving a bit more when I've got my paychecks, and yeah, that's the kind of people that we have in the ecosystem. We
So-
gamified it, and it seems to be working really well.
Beautiful. And so those five. Oh, you go, OG.
I just want to one last question about the contract. When the original staker ends up, like when they sell some of those shares and the buyer buys it, they're buying it with HEX. Is that correct?
Yes. It's an exchange. It's an exchange from the liquidity provider with the people buying it and bringing some X in, right? So
and that HEX does that go directly to the staker at that point, and that can they do what they want with that?
Yeah, to the person that initiated the liquidity. So basically,
yes,
you have users that come in, they get some shares against some HEX, right? Or a claim basically to redeem once things are ended, the HEX plus interest, right? And eventually even more if they are the one calling that function. And the initial staker themselves, they have a couple of options. Well, they can do whatever they want to do with their HEX, or they can keep creating a new stake to provide more shares, making more shares available in the market, right? And this ad infinitum, at the infinite. So which means that even with 1 million X, and you could say, well, I'm creating the stakes, people are gonna start buying in, and there's incentive for people to buying into that because they get a discounted basically share price when they come in, because it was locked in at the time where the first person initiated the stake. And so at some point, within days, we made the hypothesis that incentive was so strong that some people will want us to fill and buy out all the shares available there. That creates more liquidity for that person initiating the stake to create another one, right? And so you can do it even with a little bit amount of liquidity. You can be rolling stakes and stakes after stakes to make more shares available.
And so is this going to be on like these are actually made, these contracts, and is it possible for people to use them at the moment?
Yeah, these are publicly available contracts. They've been written 10 months ago. We've audited them internally, reviewed them. Fireburn reviewed them multiple times. We've had them as a cross-check by someone else as well. We have a bug bounty. Nobody came back to us and say, hey, I'm looking into it, or I've seen any issues. Both contracts have been deployed to the
is that bug bounty
Robsten.
Can I ask, is that bug bounty open to anyone?
Let me see if I can find it.
And also, how much is the bounty?
I think it was a couple of ETH it was 10 ETH or something, 5 or 10. I forgot.
Oh wow! So if you're a dev and you haven't got any work on at the moment, you want to try your hand at finding a bug. if it is open out to the public.
So it's on testnet at the moment. So it is open to the public, and then I guess once, are you going to get like an official audit thing, or are you?
Once again, most of our users don't care about this. So right now, if we were to make it available, we would have done it ourselves and created the audit and use the contract internally and basically present two options to users. Either you have this kind of like, hey, you create your own stake, or you buy into the shares, right? And we were gonna like abstracted away the complexity in the UI. But because Richard came in and say, hey, I'm gonna solve the fee challenge with my new chain, that created basically an incentive for us not to invest too much money into that and work on different things, right? So if Richard had not announced PulseChain back in April last year, I think before the end of the year we would have like even rolled out into the product the ability for people to buy in shares, because it would have been even makes more sense for us, even economically, being deployed on layer 2s, right? Optimism or Arbitrum.
Yeah. And so now the plan is to make a web interface for it that's separate from Staker app and see how it goes.
Yeah, we made like a soft call to the communities. Like, if there's anyone interesting to want to build a dApp above it, yeah, feel free to use it. Yeah, there's pros and cons with that approach. Again, people cannot sell. You can buy in basically, and you cannot sell your shares. So right now, if you deploy, you have them. Both of contracts are deployed on Ethereum mainnet layer 1, and yeah, it's up to anyone having a bit of X, playing with it and providing liquidity for others to buy shares. But again, if you don't have any UI for people just to use, what are the incentives to use that versus going through either Staker app or go to hex.com? The difference is not really clear for a user.
So, Steph, if the that stake for this contract is done through a Gnosis safe, can that be done? Could you still like transfer ownership of that Gnosis safe for the staker?
Yeah, that would. Yeah, you would be able to do that. To be fair, yeah, you'd be able
so
to.
you would, yeah.
So we could actually we could implement that sellable aspect of it if we were just to wrap something above the Gnosis safe, right? So, I'm just gonna repeat myself, but this is really not our priority at this point.
Yeah.
Our main priority is making the product more secure, more user friendly, finalizing all the acquisition of a broker license to be able to sell some HEX, so being an on-ramp and off-ramp for our users. I think Richard mentioned that in his last live stream, the ability to be an exchange. So we are in the process of doing it in Europe, and then it will expand in most of our English-speaking countries after that.
Wow, that's going to be huge. Yeah.
So when
that's what's needed.
When we're looking at all the things we could do, wrap stakes are not the thing. They are the most important things to pump your bags, guys. So forget about it.
Yes.
You just need more. You just
Agree.
need more. You just need more users and eventually more large users, and so that's why I think we're focusing on mainstream adoption. That's our strategy. People have different ways of contributing, but for us, I look at the data, and the data suggests that there's a fairly weak market for that wrap stake product, right? And if I were believing otherwise, we would have worked on finishing the implementation of our own solution. So,
I mean, if you're comparing it to Hedron, have you looked into Hedron like deeply? Like, have you? I mean, it's
no, I don't have time. I don't have time to look at shiny objects. PulseChain is coming. We need to ship the V2 first. I know that the code has been published, is about to be audited, and there's the launch, the upcoming launch. I mean, I'm just gonna observe, right? The same way, even personally, I'm very conservative. So I jump into X, after day 30, right? So I did not went into it day one, because I just wanted to see, how the different actors behaving on the smart contract, see if it was working properly. So even if the smart contract is audited, I want to see it live. I don't want to see it running, because none of our users will. That's my mission, and I tell them to the team, none of our users are gonna be losing money because of choices that we made. So before doing anything,
that strategy
will take some time.
That strategy for jumping in on day 30 was probably a stroke of genius. That conservative strategy that you have, Steph. So keep doing what you're doing, mate.
It's common sense, right? When you have like a massive sales like Black Friday, you're not the one in the queue, the second person that just there. You're gonna be pressured against the window, and then mostly everybody's gonna fall over you as the doors are opening. you're just being sneaky on the side and observing like who's falling, and you just walk over them. That's the way you do.
Yep. So
I think I think Staker app is going to really, the adoption is going to accelerate on Staker app once PulseChain launches, because when people are going to be able to stake on the app without the barrier of fees, it's going to be crazy.
And one thing, so we've been lucky because some of the fees that we've been collecting last year, it was a mix of USDC, Ether, and HEX, and this Ether and HEX increased a lot. So we have a bit of a fair, decent treasury right now, and we haven't spent any money in marketing right now. So as soon as the V2 is out, the PulseChain is out, we have a bit of like money to spend to bring the product in front of more eyes. And my last project at Google, within 2 years, we deliver a product to more than 20 million people throughout the world in less than 2 years. So I know how to market a product. I know how digital marketing works, and Facebook ads, Google ads. So we'll see. Crypto is a bit tricky because policy, these giants have policies against this kind of product, but teams like Coinbase manage to get some advertisement out there, so we should be able to do it as well.
I just want to clarify with the going back to that 2 contracts, because I understood what Sam was talking about for the most part, but you were talking that there's a minting contract. What's the other contract called, and what purpose does that serve?
Yeah, so we have a first contract, it's called the minting contract, which is the one where you kind of like the staker will be interacting. The initial staker will be interacting with by putting their HEX in and getting some shares out of that, right? And as part of the process, they can indicate where they want the shares to go towards, right? So are the shares going to an address? Are they going to a bridge? And that's the way. That was the way forward to design something that could be portable across layer 2s, right, from layer 1 to layer 2s. So that's the minting contract. Then you have the share contract. It is able just to read any kind of like shares that have been published to a specific address there, and basically make them available at at a given price for any other participant to buy in.
Right. Well, that's all the questions I had about the staker stuff. Now, if you've got, does anyone else have any questions before I move on to something else quickly? I just want to play a clip from a YouTuber called Adam Stokes. So if you guys don't have another question, I'll just jump into that.
Yeah, throw it up.
Okay. Now this is we've finished the staking stuff. We're just going to move on to something else now completely. So here we go.
So going into my world at the moment, I've said it on this channel before. I've never had so much money, but I've never spent so little. And I'm really hurting for everyone that I can see around me, because I can see, this is the thing with crypto in my life. So I'm going to share something personal with you. There are so many smarter people in my life that don't have anywhere near the money as that I do. So they're smarter than me and they work harder than me, but they don't have anywhere near the money I do. And the reason why is because they're caught in this lie, in this trap of fiat. They believe if they work hard and save their money and put it into a bank that it's going to be okay. And that was the lie that they were told for years. And for whatever reason, I saw through this lie. It was Bitcoin that opened my eyes. So while many people think that, as I mentioned before at the beginning of this video, Bitcoin is this funny money, this drug money, this internet money, it's not about that. It's about breaking away from fiat. Sure, a lot of people are going to get Lambos out of Bitcoin. Sure, a lot of people are going to go on those dream holidays, well, if we can travel, they're going to get their mansion and they're going to have all the luxuries of being mega rich. But it's not about that. It's about protecting you from the catastrophic failure that is fiat. And that's pretty much the theme of tonight's video, is about looking for the truth in the markets and realizing that fiat is completely dead. And while you may be focused on the price of Bitcoin, you really should be looking at the CPI. Bitcoin's going to survive, in my opinion, and Bitcoin's going to save us all, in my opinion, just the world according to me. But because you may be on the side of, oh, I really want to get that Lambo, or I just want to pay off my house debt, or I just want to make all this money, sure, that's great, and it's a reasonable, want. You want these toys, and you want to have financial freedom. But remember the reason why Bitcoin was created. It was created to get us all, not just me, not just you, but everyone, out of the catastrophic mess that fiat has created for all of us.
That was from Adam Stokes' YouTube channel. He does a weekly review every Sunday. And it's one of those things that I've just started listening to every week, because he gives a really good roundup of the whole crypto market and just covers everything. He is a hexagon. He's not a Bitcoin maxi or anything like that. He is definitely a hexagon. He talks a lot about HEX. He talks about Pulse. And I just wanted to play that because it just resonated with me a lot, just hearing him talk about that, because there are a lot of people out there who are in the grind and they're just not aware of how they're being inflated away. That everything is, costs of housing is going up so much more. And this is where, something like Staker app, something you can just grab on your phone, can really help you beat that. So yeah, I just wanted to put that out there. What did you guys think of that clip? Have you seen that, Bluey? Have you seen that?
I listen to Adam's show every Sunday. I really like his stuff, and I did listen to that, and I kind of heard that, and he's got some great little stories. I like Adam's stuff.
Yep. Well, I came across Adam when he interviewed Richard
3 times.
Yeah, 3 times. Yeah, yep. And he has a great show. So I recommend that everyone goes and subscribe to his channel, Adam Stokes, ADAM STOKES on YouTube. You can find him.
Hey Steph, if you have the time now, I could explain Hedron to you pretty quickly, and I would suggest that it's at least worth knowing about, because at the very least it sounds like it's going to be competition for these encapsulated stakes that Firebun has made, and it's worth knowing. That's what I reckon.
I don't think there'll be competition. I think they're different, man.
I think I talked with Alex, so I think I understand the gist of it. I've seen the diagram. It's about creating some leverage, right? So you put some stake at risk.
No, it's not. It's not at all about creating. I mean, that is an option that you can do, but it's more like an advance, and what you do with that advance is up to you. But it's really not about creating leverage as I see it at all. That's not the main benefits that you get out of it.
So my understanding is that you could put some stake as an NFT as collateral into the system, and in exchange for that, you can get some. Yeah, you can get some tokens, some liquidity out of it, right? And if you're not repaying within a 3 months period, then you can be liquidated. That was my understanding.
Yeah, that's one of the that's kind of one of the options. I mean, with our existing HEX stakes, you can just mint or claim and mint Hedron for free, except for the gas costs. That's with all of the legacy stakes. What the HSI stake, what options it gives you is to either turn it into map it to an NFT, and that NFT can then get sold, or you can use the borrow function, in which case you're minting all of the Hedron that you could mint on that stake, and then you pay it back. And if you miss 3 payments in the row, then that goes to a liquidation, and there's an auction. But you if you do pay it back and then you end that, then you get to mint all of that hedron for all of those days that you had. So it's really like an advance of a mint. And that's definitely an advanced feature and it's an option. But the strength in hedron goes beyond that. In a sense, it's creating a bond market.
Bloobum is a hedron maxi, obviously.
I mean, things are more simple, always more simple than they look like. You put a collateral there, you get some money out of it, and then you put some capital at risk because you can, if you don't repay, you get liquidated. They might have some bells and whistles around it. It might be cool to mint. It depends on how many people are gonna put some money in to give some hedron some value. The question is within the community, why someone would just want to buy some agent versus something else. I don't know enough about the tokenomics. I haven't seen anyone creating some models saying, hey, let's imagine we have 10,000 participants. Let's replay the smart contract. Let's make the opposite. We have 10,000 participants. A third of them are conservative. A third of them are risky. How does that look like? If we play the game, we roll the dice. How does that look like? So, something I've done for HEX before investing is making modelization. Kyle has done some modelization. Once you don't know enough about the different actors and the dynamics that could happen. So I understand roughly the way it works, maybe not all the intricacies, but again, it doesn't matter much for me. And when you say competition, I don't even feel any competition because there's no demand for wrap stake. I'm telling you from the data I'm getting, I got a lot of data. There's no demand for it. So maybe you guys can prove me wrong, and you can see there's a lot of demand, and there's a lot of people that would want us to jump in and buy it. But I don't have the same opinion.
But just as an imaginary exercise, let's say you create a Quattro Cinco stake, and you hold on to it for 5 years. By that time, HEX has gone up, or whatever it has gone up, and you have the option. Other people have the option of buying that HEX stake that was at the T-share rate from back 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to get a premium because someone has spent 5 years with that stake. Plus, they're going to have all of the hedron associated that they could mint from that. And the hedron can only come from T-share.
Hang on. You're saying that you're going to get a premium on a 5-year stakes, but why would someone not buy directly
because
some
the
HEX and stick it on the market?
Because the T-share rate has gone up so much, and for the same amount of money to buy that, they're not getting as much yield because.
So I'm saying you're going to be some sort of arbitrage depending on how much premium versus how much discount you want for, depending on the length of the shares. I mean, it's possible, but again,
speculation. What's going to happen?
I would bet with you, and I'm most likely going to be right. But within this year, if you look at 2022, that market's not going to flourish. I mean, we're struggling with not struggling. We're doing quite well, but we're fighting to get more adoption with HEX, right? So my energy is not going to be into getting more people into HEX first. Getting into derivative product is not my priority.
Yeah, fair enough. It's just that you've got these encapsulated stakes, and so.
I personally think that HEX adoption is going to be unstoppable because of PulseChain. PulseChain is going to be the complete game changer. So I don't think even stuff like Hedron or anything else, I don't think any of that. I think stuff like Hedron, it was going to be inevitable. There were going to be people in the HEX community that were going to try to build this kind of stuff out. But ultimately, HEX is going to do what it's going to do anyway. And people are going to be flooding in because the T-share rate is just going to keep going higher and higher. So,
and just to clarify, I didn't invite Stefan to corner him on on Hedron stuff. I wanted to ask him about the contracts, the contracts.
And I mean, I'm fine with it, John. I'm fine. We discussed with Alex. It's great to have people have initiatives, trying new things, trying some tokenomics. But again, I'm a conservative person, and without evidence and data showing me that this thing is gonna work, I just have to wait, right? And I think everybody should do the same. Be a bit more humble and saying, I don't know. I don't hear that many people saying, I don't know, right? And most people don't know about tokenomics, don't do modelization, don't know about technical aspect of things.
But you're
But
getting it for
people are
free.
making
I mean, you're
claims.
getting the hedge on for free. Oh, it's like, and
Yeah, but
like
you need someone to buy it for it to have a price. You know, you can have something for free that is worth zero. So
it's more the way that Hedron is given out is more of a distribution model. Like, and I don't mean to come. I didn't know.
yes, but for it to have a price, you need some people to bet on the future price of Hedron. And why would someone want to bet on the future price of Hedron versus the future price of HEX? So you could be minting stuff for free, but they could worth zero because most of the people are thinking
But the way
at
they
launch.
get HEX, no, but the best way to get HEX is just to get shares. Is to make stakes, and then you can mint from those stakes.
Listen, you need to bring some money in, right? It's like basic economics, supply and demand. If you have some energy going somewhere, you have less energy going somewhere else. So
Yeah, look, I have no doubt at the start when there's high inflation that it won't be worth very much. Like, people will be dumping it as soon as they get it. Absolutely. But also remember that when is the best time to get Bitcoin? When is the best time to get Ethereum? Like HEX, when the inflation is the highest. And then as those people dump, those weak hands dump, and it goes along,
I'm not against it. I'm not against it. I'm just advocating for people to be a bit more humble when things haven't been launching. We haven't seen them. And, you know, if you were coming to me today with saying, well, Steph, you know, I've been modelizing 5,000, 10,000, 100,000 users over the next 2-3 years on the systems. And these are the different behaviors that these participants could take. And these are the different possible features. I'll say, well, this is interesting. Or there's something, you know, worth digging into. Right now, it's like pure speculation at this point.
but
It's really, really hard.
But there's
It's
no
really,
risk.
really.
You're just getting free Hedron from these HEX stakes. You're not having to buy anything.
You're going to have to pay for gas. You're going to have to. So
Yeah,
you have to do, and yeah, but you need to do. There's something that you have to work out whether you want to pay gas for the tokens or not. That's a decision that people have to make. Absolutely. But you know,
what I'm saying is, like, you can get your Hedron for free, but someone will have to buy it against USD or any other token for it to have value.
Absolutely. But think about this. Like, think about it as a token distribution model. Like, this is only going to HEX stakers. That's a class of people who know the value of holding on. And sure, some of them are going to dump, but over time, there's going to be less and less shares in the system. Shares become inflationary because of the cost of them and because the T-share rate is ratcheting up. So over time, and I'm talking about 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, like, I'm extrapolating out over time. Like, there's going to be less and less Hedron available. And as people start borrowing, any of that they pay back, or any of those liquidated, they get bid on and paid back.
I don't want my users to take too much risk and be liquidated. So that's I mean, that's at the end of the day, that's the key.
No, that's absolutely. Well, you can EES your HEX stakes right now, and that's kind of like getting liquidated. That's exactly the same thing. It's the truth engine. And the OA has a truth engine. I was thinking today, the OA has a truth engine as well. The OA can EES.
I'm not saying people cannot just take risk and do emergency and stakes and be stupid with their money. I'm just gonna build a product that incentivizes the best behaviors for the long term, right? So we're starting with saving. I want to nail that use case perfectly. At some point, we'll see, you know, if we want to bring some spending product like a credit card, some like borrowing lending product. It could be Aave, Compound, it could be Liquidon, it could be Hedron. We'll see, but that's not the priority, I think, for the sticker app.
You know what I think it's going to be? I think it's going to be like a bond market. Because at the moment, if you're sitting there with $1 billion and you want to get into HEX, you can't get in because you're just going to move the price too much against yourself. Or you have to get in incredibly slowly over a very long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
So in the future, as we will get adoption and it will become, because HEX is the best thing ever, and it's going to catch on. I don't think, like, sure, there's risk and there's plenty of amazing things that haven't caught on, but it's making too many people money. Like it's like I see it as, I'm very bullish on HEX, let's say. And so in the future, when you have those big players who want to get in, like, I think this is how they're going to be trading in those stakes. They're going to be trading in those HSI stakes.
Maybe they'll be trading elsewhere. We'll see.
In the institutions and stuff like that, and because they'll be able to get in a really, really big way.
I don't know about the future. It's like these are good products to create good ideas. There's some pros and cons. There's some trade-off. There's some risk because they're new and you don't know about the economics or the level of adoption that people are gonna go around it. So yeah, I'd just be I'm supportive. Like people should be minting their hedrons if things are safe. They should be doing it for sure. But yeah, I've personally have more conservative stance where I say I want to look for the dynamism and the tokenomics just to prove themselves before further investing. Right.
Do you know what would be do you know what I think is also would be really nice as a byproduct of just this whole process? What's happening with Hedron and all of that is Alex. When he was on last week, but he really was able to articulate himself, and his contract really well. He could explain it really well. But what would be nice is if everything is above board and his code is, I can't read code, so I can't tell. But if everything is just fantastic, what the community has is yet another great dev that's out there that's available to everyone in the community. So that's a real positive, I think. Another great Hexagon who's a developer he said he'd been doing it for about a year, had been working on the contract for a year. So he's just been quietly by himself, working on it by himself, quiet achiever. If it works out well, if it works out to be like solid code, good code, then that's a win for future possibilities in HEX or in and around HEX.
Can I ask Steph, what's with your funds and capsulated stakes? What's the profit motive of the person making the stake, the initial stake?
Well, it's up to them. They would be kind of charging initial fees there. Similar to what you were just saying, right? With the bond market, the premium discount equation will play there. You could foresee that you're locking a share rate today and making an assumption that the entire share is going to be bought within, let's say, 30 days or a year, right? So you can make the assumption of like how many people are going to come in and what is the average like share rates of people coming at which, and that you can calibrate basically the premium that you want to take over these users, right, when they come in. Right?
And so do you as the person who makes it, do you set the price of the shares in HEX for people buying it?
It's a good question. It could be just market. I don't know because it's been a long time. I haven't looked at the contract specifically, but it could be. I think it just might be just market price. I don't remember how it's being encoded specifically, but it doesn't. Let's assume that it's market price. Right? We're getting the rate, the actual rate HEX for shares. It's up to the person setting the stakes to fix the premium, saying, "Oh, I'm gonna take a 2% premium or 3% premium," because I know on average, my shares get all bought up within a year, and this is how much of the share rate is evolving during that period, and so. It's reasonable for me to take that discount because users still gonna have a decent price. They got a good entry. I got a good premium, and everybody's happy.
Okay.
Because the worst case scenario for the people staking, right, making that stake, is that nobody buys up, right? You could set very very high premium, and it's as if you had done a regular stake. At the end of the stake, you're gonna be the one just basically and staking, and maybe you didn't set your premium well enough, for someone to buy in. So
So you make a stake, and you say how much of a percentage you're going to take for the overall thing, which will include your cost for ending the stake, which was one of the main reasons that you made that. So that initial person is, and then you do a little bit more, which is your kind of fee for making that, and then you sell at market. You sell the shares at market. So you're basically just taking out some of the shares as the
some of the
percentage.
interest that if a regular users would have made the share by themselves, right? They would have gathered some interest. Well, in that case, the user gets a bit less. Like instead of being 13% annually, they get maybe 12.5, and I'm getting a piece of that because I provided liquidity, and the person could enter at a fairly good rate. So still.
Okay. And what if, like, let's say Alex has made this Hedron. So you can mint Hedron from making a stake. So that person could mint Hedron. But let's say in the future, and your argument is that Hedron won't be worth anything, so it won't matter that much. But let's say in the future someone comes along and there are other things built on top of HEX where you can get benefits from being a staker. Like, would you have to, like, will that person be able to divide up whatever you get on top of it to the other people?
It's a very hard question that you're asking. I'm not quite sure where you're going. I'm not saying that this will not work. This will not have value. I'm just being cautious because when we have a mic, we have a platform, we have an audience. We should think about the consequences of people making some move at the end of the mic. So something that hasn't been running, hasn't been proven. We need some
I'm an
time.
extrapolator. I'm just an expansive thinker, and I like to look into the future and try to predict it. And
so put a spreadsheet up, and just modelize what it could be. Right? Go to.
It doesn't take much of my imagination to do
that. Yeah, because it could stay in your head, and then I've got a lot of ideas as well of things that could be happening. But if you don't write things down, right, it doesn't matter.
I mean, what possible modeling could you make from that though? Like, what would you kind of
model multiple participants, and the way you can even try with 10 participants with different amount of minting, different amount of people buying the Hedron tokens because they believe that something's gonna happen with it, and then how many of the people get liquidated, the percentage. You can model everything.
Listen, I'm not an Excel person, so I don't model in that sense. I model in my mind. But Bree has made lots of models.
Okay, good luck. No. To be serious, you need to write it down, right? Otherwise, it's just anything goes. I can come up with diagrams to you and selling you the staker token tomorrow. You're gonna buy it because you're just happy with thinking about what's in your mind. That's not serious.
Steph, we've got a question from Mr. Diraj Moore. What happens when the underlying stakes of wrapped stakes end? That's what he wrote in his question.
on the Sam's contract.
Yes, I believe that. Yeah, in Sam's contract, what happens when the stakes, the wrap stakes end?
I think it's 4 days. Yeah, you have this grace period of 14 days in the original HEX contract, and then you can start getting penalized. So I think the person that initiated the stake, there are 4 days. That is kind of there are 4 days to end the stakes and basically pay for the end staker fees. At that point, once they do it, anyone else will be able to claim pro rata how much shares they bought. They'll be able to claim some of the rewards. And if the person initiating the stake hasn't done it within the 4 days, then there's about 10 days for the rest of the participant to come in and say, well, maybe the initial minter is no longer with us, and they have the ability to claim the original fees that should support as well the gas fee. So it's going to be the first hitting the contract, basically the contract function after these first initial 4 days.
And Steph, thanks for that answer. You've been very generous with your time in your morning. I appreciate that you've come on and explained everything and answered our questions. Now, we usually, I'm not sure how long you can stick around for, but we usually do a segment on our show called Bitch Tits of the Week. And let me, do you want to stick around for that segment? What it is we just do, we just do a prediction of a prediction
the
of
price
what's,
for next few days, right?
That's
yeah,
right.
I won.
Okay.
I remember once I just submitted something to
did.
the form.
You
I was
win.
spot on the
That's
price,
correct.
you know.
But you went in the
I
chat or something.
Yeah, because
You
it was
missed out.
too early or something. I don't remember.
Okay. Well, let's do this. Okay, bitch tits of the week. Let's get the guys up. uNrekt, are you there? T-Bird?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I don't even know what the price is today.
All right, so bitch tits of the week. Guys, it's time to place your votes. Last week, we set up a website, so I'm just going to type it in the chat. It's called titbit.ch, www.titbit.ch. You can go there and you can vote for next week's price. So you just go to that URL, www.titbit.ch, and you can click on a button there that takes you to the voting page. It's just a Google's form, and you can place your uNrekt. What's happening, mate? I can't hear you.
Muted.
You're on mute.
His internet's worse than mine.
I can't hear a word you're saying, mate. Can't hear a word you're saying. But he's rocking out. He's jamming. All right. Let me just go get the form. So, what are we predicting for next week, guys? What are we predicting? Let me see if I can get a chart up. We haven't got all our regulars this week. We haven't got Jexxa. We haven't got Tangent. They're usually my go-to chart guys, and they've got a chart ready to bring up. So I'm going to have to do it myself this week. Just bear with me. Let me just go to.
I think the market, the overall crypto market is tanking, so it's not good even for HEX.
Yep. I'm going to go to my go-to site for checking the price, which is uniswap.vision.
Dippy dip.
While you're doing that, 43, I just want to quickly take this opportunity. This is my first time ever on stream with Steph, and just want to take this opportunity to really honor Steph for all the amazing work that he's done for the HEX community since the beginning, and it's an honor to be on the stream with you, and thank you for everything you've done for the community.
No, you're welcome. It's a team effort. We are now team of 4. Fireburn is amazing partner. I would not have dreamed of a better person to start a business. We've been working together for 2 years, and I haven't met him. Can you imagine?
Wow, that's crazy.
On the Hexpo, you did a talk about the DAO.
The HEX DAO.
The HEX DAO, which is like the community. And we used to have a joke when we started streaming, and it was uNrekt, Bloobum, and I. And then whoever
guy is going in.
Yep. Whoever was available to stream, whoever was available to stream would just stream, It was just, they would just do it on their channel and stream. And we used to laugh about how it was just almost like a decentralized streaming, system that we had. And that sort of, goes to what you were saying. You were talking about how there's a gap in what needs to be done in the community, in the ecosystem, and someone in HEX, will fit into that gap and fill it. And And that's what we've seen over the past couple of years. You and Sam have filled big gaps, you know.
Yeah, but that's not natural, you know. In life, you have people that they have time, people that have skills, that have the motivation, and you have this, you know, the same way you have it in the investment distribution. You also have in people contributing. Most of people are just bystanders, right? You can't avoid it. Most people are here on the sidelines, enjoying their coffee, watching the stream, and that's good enough for them, right? They put some chip in, and they wait for the price to go up. But for others, you know, you just like find meanings and motivation into building, contributing, engaging. Again, I was just telling you guys before, with just a few of us actually here with a mic and sharing ideas, but most of people may not be on Twitter, may not be on social media, and just for them it's a complete mystery what's happening. You know, they might be onboarding people we don't know about, and a bit more remote. So that's why for me that's the true meaning of a DAO, is like even people you don't know, just there in their little part of the world doing some things at their level.
Yeah. Well, we always, when we come on stream, we always tell people to jump on stream, because I think that's one of the things that you can do where you don't need to have a whole lot of, you don't have to have too much skill, which is evident by our stream. We just sort of jump on and you know, for the most part, we talk a lot of shit, but sometimes we like to go down the rabbit hole. But that's what people can do. They can, if you don't feel like you have any other, you know, sets of skills, you don't even have to be on camera. You can do videos for HEX and upload them to your channel.
You can do some hair, guitar there. Yeah, a lot of possibilities. Yeah,
that's right. That's right. Rumor has it that uNrekt actually is a good guitar player. Rumor has it.
I've heard him. I've heard him actually.
And
he gets into it. Let's just say that.
Well, isn't that half of the game of playing guitar? You know, being a good showman.
Yeah,
you got to be a good showman.
Mm-hmm. It's feeling it. But I love the comments. uNrekt, unplugged, clapped on.
Yeah, he's got the feels for sure.
All right, so I'm just bringing up the. Can I bring this up? Where are we? There we go. So right now we are on 0.206. And let me just see if I can bring up the spreadsheet. Let's have a look. Where is it?
Hey, Steph, did you manage to kind of like enjoy your HEX gains at all as well? As I mean, it sounds like it has been working. Like you went to Ukraine, didn't you?
I need some vacation. I've taken a few breaks here and there, but nothing as you know. I like to spend more time. Just I love traveling. I speak 4 languages. I'm learning Russian at the moment. Wow. So I've been this year I've been twice in Russia, St. Petersburg, Moscow, in Kiev as well, just to practice a little bit. So I just hope that this COVID situation is just dissipating this year, and then everything is reopening, because I love to travel, visit new countries, embracing new cultures.
So what do you say? You speak Russian, French, English, and what else?
Spanish and German.
Oh, that's 5 languages. And so
I studied robotics in Germany during my college time. And then as a French speaker, I was like picking up new Latin languages is fairly easy. So Spanish is okay, and English as an engineer you need to speak it. So.
But German and Russian I've heard is pretty hard.
Yeah, I started the beginning of this year, and so far so good. It's intense. It's like German ++. So You have this kind of a step function where you need to learn the Cyrillic alphabet first, right? To recognize and the new symbols. But
Yeah.
I already passed that level, so having
What
fun.
made you decide to
Or-
study Russian?
I was hesitating between like three harder languages. It was like a Russian, Chinese, Arabic, and a set of circumstances, people that made me start with Russian.
So Russian has hotter chicks.
That plays a lot. Yeah, for sure.
All right, guys. So we've got the list of all the votes from last week, and the winner this week is Dozer. Dozer with 0.202, which is right there. We're
Dorsey.
0.20.
Dorsey's
No,
184.
No, it's not Dorsey. It's Dozer.
Oh.
It's not Dorsey 78.
Dozer.
It's Dozer.
Oh, okay.
Damn,
And,
I already revealed that I was very bearish for next week.
Oh,
Is
yeah,
he
yeah,
in the chat?
Is he
This
in the
is
chat?
next week. This is next week's, is it? This is not.
No,
today.
this is last week's. But as you can see, we had Novak Djokovic make a vote there as well. So, you know, he must have had a bit of time on his hands in the hotel in detention in Australia, and he decided to vote in Bitch Tits of the Week. There you go.
Didn't get a Novak.
What's that?
But you didn't get a Novak. He didn't win.
No, he didn't win. So yeah, we've got and Dozer is actually believe it or not, he's a serial winner of this. He's won like about 4 or 5 times, and
what do you get? What do you get if you win?
He gets to the title of Bitch Tit of the Week.
Huh.
We get to call him Bitch Tit. It is. It's amazing. When PulseChain comes out, you know, there might actually be a prize.
NFTs.
Look, I think we have a problem here on the Hex Late Show, paying more in gas than the prize would be worth. So we'll wait till PulseChain and see what we can do with that. But he was the inspiration for Bitch Tits of the Week, and you know, he votes every week, so he wears it with pride. One thing, who won out of us? Do we know who won out of us? Bloobum, you got 25. What did I get? 27.5. T-Bird, 18.3. I think T-Bird or Sammy. I think Sammy might have pitched at the post by a couple of points, mate. Jexxa 27.8. Yeah. What did I do? $9.
Good.
I'm good at the macro.
Yep.
1 week out to get it.
So, guys, make sure you jump on and go do your vote for next week at go do your vote for next week. Where is it? If I can work this out. He's still jamming, uNrekt. uNrekt, you got to unmute yourself, mate. You got to unmute.
His signal is jamming.
No, we can't hear you. You're on mute.
It actually works quite well. Oh, yeah, we can hear that.
It was just on mute.
Yep. Nice, man. Rock out.
Okay, it's time for me to leave, I think.
Steph, thank you very much for coming on, mate. We really appreciate your time.
No, thank you for having me. And thanks, Bloobum, for the exchange. I think again, I'm not being negative on any product specifically, but I like just to exchange ideas, and my role as someone that's having a lot of traffic, a lot of users, being the most responsible possible, and just make sure that people exercise caution before looking or investing into new things.
Absolutely. Thanks,
Yeah.
Steph.
And
Thanks a
on
lot,
that
Steph.
on that
Thanks,
note,
Steph.
we have this Sunday Staker show as well every weekend, and we will be touching on security. I have like a presentation, like 15 minutes, a couple of slides about security this Sunday. So tune in if you want to learn more about security, things you haven't seen or
What's the
learned.
YouTube channel? What's the YouTube channel?
Yeah, it's Staker App channel on
Oh, like
YouTube, but
3 channels. On
we have
Huddle
Gerardo
Yeah.
and Gerardo
Yeah,
are restreaming. So yeah, any of these channels you'll be able to catch up there.
Yeah, I thought both Gerardo and Hodl Dog stream it as well.
Yeah, exactly. And the other public announcement is like we are still hiring. So if you're a software engineer, please just reach out to us because we are growing the team.
You heard it here.
Cool.
If you're a
Thanks,
dev,
guys.
Thanks heaps for coming on, Steph.
Thanks.
Have a good evening.
Thanks, Steph.
Legend.
Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot,
Thank you,
mate.
man.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Well, there you go.
There you have it.
The CEO of Staker App has come on and explained Staker App. Hang on, let me just see.
Staker App.
Are you there, uNrekt?
Hey. Yeah, I'll be here, mate. That was good to speak to Steph, wasn't it? So I didn't have much to
Oh,
say,
yeah.
but like, I love the Staker App. I love the Staker App. Use it every day.
Yep.
So yep.
Like there is not any software. I mean, apart from the HEX contract, there's no other software that's more used than the Staker App. Like, you know, people who don't even do stakes on
Get everything
Staker.
you need, yeah, from there.
Yep.
Yep. You don't have to
Yep.
secure, but you don't have to like tap it. If you're using a legacy MetaMask, you don't have to even go onto the blockchain. You don't even have to turn your computer on or log into Ethereum, which is like obviously the elephant in the room, the gas fees. This is why we got Pulse, and this is why.
Yep.
You know, like it's going to be like a massive vampire attack on the Ethereum network. We take on all that. We're going to take over all their users. Going to be mass adoption. This thing's going to it's going to have a blow. It's just going to blow up. We've seen what HEX does. It just keeps going up and to the right.
Yep. You look like you're having a bit of fun there, just jamming out. What are you listening to, uNrekt? Hey, did you hear the intro? uNrekt, did you hear
I
the
wanted to change that. No, not yet. No,
You
I haven't seen
you
a
haven't
new intro. You didn't play the bitch tits bit.
I'll play the intro again. You tell me what you reckon, mate. It's Richard Hart gives you a shout out.
Man, thank goodness. uNrekt.
Did you hear that, mate?
Oh, Richard Hart. What can you say about the Richard Hart? I love the man. He's doing great. He's doing great things out in the world, and just his actions speak louder than words, don't they? Speak volumes. What's going on? Like he's got the best products. Richard Hart. Anything that's endorsed by him, beautiful. It's like he's hooking you up. He's hooking you all up with the best crypto in the world. 100% uptime, triple audited.
Yep.
You know, it's isn't that what it's all about? The financial freedom, teaching people to actually catch fish, not teach a man to fish. All those sort of things. But
What I'm most excited about is having four charts, or actually five different price charts to analyze in conjunction with each other.
Oh, it's a technical analysis wet dream. I mean, look at it. Look at what HEX does now that we've got like 2 years of data in, and it's been proven on the chart, and they're trying to still not even acknowledge it. That's been the best performing asset for 2021, 2022. I think it's going to continue to do that. And we've seen it go to all-time highs. It's doubled like 13, 14 times. So I think that all the fundamentals that are built into HEX are going to be built into the game theory and tokenomics on PulseChain and PulseX. So I reckon they're the golden portfolios. If you get ETH HEX, Pulse HEX, and PulseChain token or coin, the native token for PulseChain and the PulseX coin, and you can only put in a little bit of lunch money in there. That's probably a good place to start if you're coming in new to crypto, wouldn't you say? you know, like
Yep.
your ones and twos and
Yep.
your smaller players, your little guys, getting in before the institutions, the big fish come and pump the bags.
Well,
Because it's inevitable.
Pulse is going to make it so, like T-Bird was saying this a little while back on the stream. He was saying that Pulse is going to make, he said that Pulse is just going to make a huge difference to the onboarding. I agree with him wholeheartedly. Like, can you imagine how easy it's going to be when you don't have to pay these crazy gas fees? It's going to be so much easier to get people in, you know?
Yeah, the crazy gas.
It's going to be so much easier.
Showstopper for a lot of people. Yeah.
Yeah.
And once everyone's got it and it's recognised as a store of value the way it is.
Did you guys get any big takeaways from Richard's latest live stream? Anything that stuck out for you guys?
Well, I've got something actually on that. I haven't seen his most recent one from today because he did one a few hours back, but I haven't had a chance to see that. So let me just play this.
So, I mean, I said because you're getting HEX on 2 chains, you know, you could get Pulse HEX 2/3, right? Go 2/3 Pulse and then 1/3 HEX. But maybe you could do 75% like sacrifice because you're going to want to maybe swap some of that. So like if let's say you missed Pulse, but you wanted some Pulse, and now you can get Pulse X. So you could go, you know, 75% Pulse X, 25% HEX, and then peel off, you know, maybe 1/3 of your Pulse X and swap it for Pulse when the mainnet comes out before the bridges. Could work. I'm just throwing darts at a wall here, man, you know? I know that the Pulse chat room has 68,000 members. The HEX chat room has like 38,000, and the Pulse X chat room has like 34,000. But think about how much longer each one of those has been open and in existence for the other ones. Like HEX has been around for years, and this chat room has almost half the people that PulseChain's chat room does. So I think PulseChain is just a more popular product, oddly enough, even though it doesn't exist yet, which is wild. And then, you know, Pulse X chat room's only been around for a few weeks maybe. And, you know, it's got about as many users as HEX does. So it's interesting.
uNrekt, I've just got you on mute, mate, because the noise is just a bit too much for the stream. But if you want to talk, just let me know, mate. Yeah, so that was Richard Hart talking about, you know, just throwing darts at a wall on potential strategy. If you missed the Pulse sacrifice, which was in July, and you still wanted to be able to get some Pulse, perhaps a strategy would be to sacrifice for Pulse X, which is you can go to Pulse PulseX.com, PulseX.com, and then the strategy that he threw out there was maybe of your stack of HEX, you sacrifice 75%, keep 25% in HEX, and of that 75% that you have, you sacrifice that. But as soon as the Pulse launches, did he say sell 2/3 of it for Pulse? I think he said swap.
Darts at the dartboard. It's honestly, he's throwing darts at a dartboard. It's
Yeah.
like,
but there has to be a strategy. Think about it. There has to be a strategy for people who haven't got any Pulse that want Pulse. What is the play? There's going to be a play before the bridges open. Hey, but then you,
I think there's going to be a whole lot of people.
You are buying it. You are buying it on Pulse X, but you're buying it before the bridge opens, right? So that, you know,
what's so good about that?
I think there's going to be a lot of missed out on the fear. At least they feel like they missed out on HEX and Pulse. They're going in big in Pulse X, and they're going to. It's going to be interesting to see how much equity is going to flow from Pulse X into both Pulse, and PHEX.
Yeah, I'm just going to be sitting there in the liquidity pool of PulseX. Like, I don't care what people do. I don't mind which one I end up with.
Because I think this is going to go absolutely. It's going to go sky high, and then when the liquidity pair, and then the liquidity pair starts with EHEX and PHEX, it's going to PulseX is going to what I think is going to happen. PHEX is going to drag EHEX to it. So whatever movement PulseX is going to do, it's just going to force EHEX. It's going to be a beautiful thing to sort of just observe once everything gets going, I think. Anyway.
I don't get that. Sorry, say that again. Like, how is PulseX going to influence the price of PHEX to EHEX?
Well, in the context of liquidity pairing, like because I know I'm seeing a lot of hexagons with interest to create, to be a liquidity with the PHEX EHEX pair.
Mm-hmm.
So when the way, at least how I see it, there's going to be a lot of people flooding into PHEX in the beginning for obvious reasons. And then once
you mean buying extra PHEX?
Yeah, correct.
So you think?
So it's going to. I think PHEX is going to drive the price of EHEX because of how much demand is going to be for PHEX.
Say that again. PHEX is going to drive the price of EHEX up.
Guys, Hart's law. You guys, are you up to scratch on your Hart's law?
Sure.
Yep.
To a degree.
The binding of tokens in a liquidity pair means that they move together. So if people on Ethereum HEX bridge their Ethereum HEX, their liquid Ethereum HEX over to Pulse and put it in a liquidity pool with the Pulse HEX, that is going to increase the likelihood of those two being bonded together. So imagine that, but this is Hart's law, right? This is Hart's law.
Yeah, but hang on, you're recontextualizing it to not completely make sense.
I am what do you mean?
Well, the Hart's law is that like all these shit coins are like paired to Bitcoin. So when the price of Bitcoin goes down compared to the US dollar, all the shit coins go down as well because they're all paired with Bitcoin.
Yeah. That's right.
So
it doesn't matter what the pairs are. It's the fact that they're a pair in the liquidity pool. That's what matters. So if they go down and they go up together, it's not just they.
What's the analogy with the two hexes? I'm not exactly sure what you mean.
Well, then if you wanted to achieve like similar pricing and similar movement between the Ethereum hex and the hex on PulseChain, then if a lot of the Ethereum hex is bridged over into a liquidity pool with Pulse hex, then I think Hart's law applies in that situation.
No.
I mean, you don't think so?
Well, you haven't.
I think it does.
What you're talking about is when you have three things. So if you have Pulse, and like you're saying that if the liquidity pair of there's no third thing there.
What do you mean third thing? It's a pair. It's Hart's law is about a pair. It's not about three things. Doesn't matter what two things they are. If they're in the liquidity pool together, if they're paired together, that is what.
But if you have hex dumping on the Ethereum side, right? That's still gonna. It's not that like that's because you've got a liquidity pool over on the Pulse side. Doesn't mean it's gonna pull that hex.
No, but then you get arbitrage opportunities because of that.
Sure.
And that's where they start being moving, and they might not move exactly together. There's always going to be that that cost of, I mean, maybe not always, maybe if they get their shit together and actually release, come out with,
my
sharding and all of that.
Sorry, go on.
You know what? I think you're crazy to put your HEX in a liquidity pair. I'm going to say that because you're the best value to get out of HEX is to stake it. That's how you get yield and you earn in HEX.
Yep.
As soon as you put your HEX in a
I don't disagree with you. Hey, but who knows?
But I totally agree with that. But I think whales, there will be whales in the HEX ecosystem that will be incentivized to provide liquidity as well.
Yeah. There's some entities in HEX that tend to do the best thing for HEX. I wonder what that entity might do.
Yeah.
That entity that's just sitting, there are entities that are just sitting on bags and bags of HEX.
You know what? If I had EHEX on one side and I had PHEX, I wouldn't be cross-chaining and bridging them over. I'd just be staking on one chain and I'd be staking on the other. And probably in HSIs.
Well, let's bear in mind that only, like, stakers only make up like roughly 10% of it anyway. So, when we're talking about like some of the other liquid HEX that's out there, it could very easily happen. I mean, put it this way, I don't know what is going to happen. I can't tell the future, but if it's in the best interest of the HEX ecosystem as a whole, I wouldn't be surprised if big entities, do decide to do something along those lines, if it actually turns out that was in the best interest of the ecosystem.
I'll just add that the extra incentive of providing liquidity on PulseChain, like with EHEX, like as an example pair of EHEX with PHEX, is the incentive reward token, which doesn't have a name yet. And there's a lot of speculation around what that token is going to do as well.
Dump? I mean, if it's just going to be inflating ad infinitum, it's going to be a reward token. I mean,
we don't. Do we know what the inflation, like how that's going to work? What's the inflation model?
Well, I think the whole point of him separating those two attributes out was that he made the PulseX token deflationary. So that makes it extremely valuable. But in those other systems, their tokens were both deflationary and inflationary in that they burnt some, but then they also just printed a whole lot at the same time. And so what Richard has done is separated those two attributes out. So the PulseX, which is the deflationary one, that's going to attract all the value because it's going to get burnt as more swaps happen. But the inflationary one, I mean, I don't know how you put much of a value onto that. That's just going to be like...
So some good comments here. The only problem with our Richard Hart's law is it goes both ways. So if EHEX dumps after the fork, it could prevent PHEX from pumping if they are the biggest liquidity pair. And then just this comment from iBaseline, the OA provided huge amounts of liquidity at the start of HEX to give people the ability to dump and not wreck the price. So I guess you've got like a point and then a bit of a counterpoint there in the chat.
It's a really interesting power that the big liquidity providers have. And when you fatten up that liquidity to have not much price movement, and when you thin it out to have potential big swings of price movement, and how you temper that. And when you've got many people providing liquidity as well, how are people kind of playing all that? Hey, it's interesting. But I think the play is like, if you've got Pulse and you've got PulseX, if you've got Hedron, well, you're minting it for free. So chuck those three things in liquidity pairs. That's what I'm thinking.
I'm just putting a URL in the chat here. Guys, if you haven't voted in Bitch Tits of the Week, go to www.tit. Oh, did it just take my... Oh, there it is.
So if everybody is buying,
www.tipbit.ch, you go to that website, click the vote, and then enter your name and your price prediction for next late show in a week's time, and then we draw the winner of that in 1 week's time. So go there and place your vote.
so T-Bird, if you think that PulseX, if you think that people are sacrificing for PulseX now in order to get Pulse as soon as the chain launches, like, don't you think that would mean that the PulseX price dumps compared to Pulse?
That's an interesting question. I don't know. It's all
Depends.
speculation at the end of the day. But
What if people are buying it up? What if people counter do that and buy up the sold stuff? I mean, there's going to be so much unknown. There's so much unknowable.
At the end of the day, the market is going to dictate all this stuff, and it's just going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting of where the demand is going to flow. Basically.
Yeah, I agree, and I think it's just a bit of a risky strategy to predetermine. Like, if people start dumping PulseX, I wouldn't be start selling it. That's what I'm saying. Like,
hey, PulseX is going to be deflationary. It's going to be deflationary.
Yeah, I'd hold on to it if I just sacked for it and I got it and I didn't have any Pulse. I'd just and if everyone was like dumping their PulseX for Pulse, I'd just like hold back a bit. And if you really want some Pulse,
I think it's more. This is more in the context of the new guys and girls that are coming into the system that might not have the bags of HEX and Pulse that they would like. So
yeah. I mean, they're getting an opportunity. I feel like it's not. I don't know what the right move is. We're not financial advisors. We have no idea what you should do with your money. Don't listen to us. Seriously, don't listen to us. We got no idea. Do your own research. Work out what you need to do. What's best for you. Listen to smarter people than us.
Bunch of psychics on the internet.
That's it. That's right. We're just a bunch of dudes in Australia who got nothing better to do on a Tuesday night, apparently.
We've done okay so far, though.
I don't know, man. I'm just a silent shell over here. To steal Hexologist line.
I did notice that. I think it was yesterday or the day before. There was a massive jump again in the T-share rate. Did you?
No, let's bring it up, hey.
What is it at now? Is it up to 21,000?
I think it went from like 20. Oh, no, not that much. I think it went from like 20,200 something to 20,400 something.
Bring it up, hey. Have a look. It's one of my favorite websites.
I had a look at the time. I had a look at the timeline. It's like there's some big expiring stakes now, I think in early May. But apart from that, there's not there's not really that much in terms of expiring big expiring stakes that'll be in the near future.
So Seth said it was like, he reckons like 3 to 5 months before PulseChain comes out, huh? So that's probably like what, mid-March? Mid-March to mid-May.
Oh yeah, I mean, March would be brilliant, but I think it's probably not going to be until April, I would say.
20,484.
We were pumping last year in April. It'd be nice to have a nice April pump again. May.
No. Last year, the big pump. The April pump was in 2020. April last year was when Bitcoin was approaching top, or its local top at that time.
April
and then
28th of April was when
and then the sea of lava, and then HEX started.
Oh yeah, May comes after.
So we in at the end of April we were 1.5 cents, and then by, if this mouse would move,
Do you think we're going to have
by the 14th of May we were 6.5. So we went up 5 cents in the course of 2 weeks, and then by the 19th of July, and this is when the sacrifice, this is just leading into the sacrifice for Pulse, we hit like 17 cents, and then we had that drawback, and then we went up to all-time highs at 56 cents here around September. But yeah,
what was that news based on?
What's that?
What was that pump based on? Do you remember? I can't even remember. Like, why did we pump so much in September?
Lack of supply. More demand than supply. That's it.
What news was going on? But it wasn't any news. It was just.
I think a lot of stakes come out. A lot of stakes come out at that December time. A lot of them.
Right.
And then if you. Yeah. And then maybe not all of them sell everything at that time. Maybe some restake, some hold on to some. But I think by the time you get to like later on in the year, I mean, and this is just anecdotal. I mean, I know when I look at that chart of future supply, I do see those blips every December. But when you get to September, maybe there's just nothing. And this is in the context of having a sacrifice where people have sacrificed, a lot of HEX as well. So there's not all this supply anymore, and now we're having a sacrifice just after that period. So, look, it's hard to know. It's hard to know exactly what's going on, what's going to happen. But if I just look at what's happened in the past and what I think is going to happen in the future, I think, now seems like, it seems like a half decent price, doesn't it? It seems like a pretty decent price. Who knows? I might go buy some HEX. Where we're sitting around that 20 cent mark.
It's pretty much always a good idea if you're going to stay.
43. I want to ask, how high do you think price can go by the end of this year on both chains?
By the end of this year?
Yeah.
Oh, so this is absolutely throwing darts at a board. But I think, look, I don't know. I think we could definitely break through the $1 mark and be a few dollars. It just depends what happens. Like, I think a big driver will be that documentary. When that documentary comes out, I think after like a couple of months, 2, 3, 4 months after that's been out, and it's a lot of people have started to see it. I think that's going to drive a lot of adoption. One of the things that really got me to
the documentary is probably not going to release till the end of the year. I don't think it's coming out.
I think it's actually it might actually be next year, like first quarter 2023. Last time I heard.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Hey, look at that. It looks like we're consistently over that 6 HEX per T share. That's pretty amazing, hey? That's pretty amazing.
With compliments from John Wick.
Yeah, absolutely. That's an altruistic HEX fella right there. Let me close this off. Yeah, so guys, we've been running for a couple of hours. It was great to have Steph on the stream. T-Bird, thank you very much for coming on and filling the void tonight. Usually we have Sammy, we have Jexxa, we have Tangent, but tonight all of them are off. I don't know, enjoying life, I guess.
It was a rare opportunity. community. It just happened to happen because I happen to be not at home, which is an unusual thing for me. So I happen to have a relatively okay connection to work with. So yeah, happy to jump on for sure.
And I can just see in the chat, someone's talking about the Twitter Spaces that's been happening. There's been guys in the HEX community have been doing a lot of Twitter Spaces where you can just jump into a
one, man. It's been
24
like 70 hours.
70. Are they still
Something
going?
like that.
What?
Yeah.
That is nuts. I thought they were doing 24 hours and then that was it.
No, I'm pretty sure it's still going.
Yeah, I haven't been keeping up. I haven't been keeping up with all this. Obviously, some of them, but I haven't been keeping with.
Well
crazy.
done, sirs. Whoever's doing that, I think
It's
from memory,
Hexorca.
it's a guy, Hexorca. Well done, Hexorca. That is fantastic, mate. That's how we get things done in Hex. People come up with an idea and then they execute and they do it. So if you're sitting at home and you're wondering what you're going to do, think of something and execute it. Do it, because no one,
it's still going.
it's still going.
Yeah, it's
That's
still
amazing.
Going.
That's amazing.
Like, it's got to be 70 hours or something more.
That is
world record.
That is amazing. All right, guys, let's wind it up. I want to thank everyone in the chat. Sorry, mate. Well, go for it.
No, it's cool. Whatever. All good. We've gone.
Yep.
We've gone. Yeah, a lot.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks to everyone in the chat. Great talk with Steph tonight. And yeah, we will see you. And it was great to see uNrekt on stream. He hasn't been on stream for a few weeks, but great to have him on stream. And we will see you next week. So take care of yourselves and Hex for the win.
See everyone.